A first listen to Yesterday by the Beatles. Okay, so I am making a return to the Beatles music again. This is a track off their album Help, released in 1965. I believe this is like a pre-LSD time for the Beatles. I think the Beatles music catalog has a lot of phases to it. You had the very much innocent phase. You had Sgt. Pepper's and the experimentation with the drugs and their music, and you had the much more mature phase at the end with like Abbey Road. So it'd be cool to see this sort of evolution as I go through their catalog. I think this is one of their greatest songs. It is considered one of the greatest songs of all time. It has a very cool backstory to it. McCartney apparently stumbled out of bed with this track completed, and it was so complete that he thought that perhaps he had plagiarized it from somewhere, and spent a couple of weeks sort of asking around if other people had heard this track. No one had, and so he eventually put it down on record. I think what happens with a lot of artists is that whether or not they're actively working on the music, some part of their subconscious is sort of churning away and creating, and I think that's what we're going to hear here. We're essentially hearing sort of McCartney's subconscious, or what his dreams sound like, which I think is a pretty cool concept. So let's get into the music. Okay, here we go. I've also got the lyrics up to help me follow along.
Yesterday, all my troubles seem so far away.
Wow.
Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Suddenly, I'm not half the man I used to be. There's a shadow hanging over me. Oh, yesterday came suddenly. Why she had to go, I don't know. She wouldn't say. I said something wrong. Now I long for yesterday.
Wow, what an absolutely beautiful song. Now it's hard to like have gone all your life and never have heard even snippets of this song. I've heard little parts of this track, but I never taken the time to sit down and sort of realize how sort of unbelievably mournful the track is. I love what they've done production wise. It's a very stripped back track. There seems to be like a guitar, violins, and McCartney's voice. And the way he's singing this thing, it absolutely breaks your heart. I think this is really where the Beatles shine the most. For me, I mean, their writing, you don't need me to say it is truly exceptional, but it's their ability to make such a complex emotion, which is the idea of loss, so universal, but not lose any of its edge. I mean, you can take some of these lyrics, and I feel like you can apply them to a much more like experimental band like Nine Inch Nails or something like that. To me, it fits that kind of theme much more clearer. Yeah, it's with the Beatles, and this is such a huge, well-loved, giantly appealing band. All my troubles seem so far away. Now it looks as though they're here to stay. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Like that line right there is really, really brilliant. I believe in yesterday. Like that's sort of the mindset of a person who is like really grieving, really upset with their life. Their life is in turmoil. I'm not half the man I used to be. There's a shadow hanging over me. It's funny that I now listen to other bands and I can totally hear the influence of the Beatles. It's quite amazing to see, man. As a person who was not really familiar with their music and why they're so often put on this giant pedestal, I mean, I hear Tool in this. Am I crazy to say this? I hear Cobain. I can hear it now. Now that I've experienced so much other music, it's mad to see, man. It really is crazy. Their influence is so far reaching. I'm gonna back this up a little bit.
Yesterday, love was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. Oh, I believe in yesterday. Why she had to go, I don't know. She wouldn't say. I said something wrong. Now I long for yesterday.
The musicianship on display with this song is so high level. I mean, again, they're not doing too much. This done on purpose is to allow the emotion of the song through, the writing of the song through, and McCartney's voice through. And to speak on McCartney's voice, man, is the melodies that he chooses to sing. It's the way he's singing it. It just absolutely breaks your heart, man. What an unbelievable voice he has. Out of the two voices, I always thought I preferred Lennon, but I mean, I'm willing to have it changed. You know, I'm willing to have my mind changed. I mean, he's got such a fantastic voice. To get into this, to the writing some more, it is a song about heartbreak, right? Why she had to go, I don't know. She wouldn't say. I said something wrong. Now I long for yesterday. But I spoke about Blackbird about this. McCartney, a true great writer, has an ability to take something personal, which this might have been a personal story, and make it be still applicable to many, many people. That's the sign of, you know, genius almost. And I mean, that's clearly on display here, man.
Yesterday, love was such an easy game to play. Now I need a place to hide away. Oh, I believe in yesterday.
2 minutes and 3 seconds of genius. That's what that was. The fact that he wrote that thing without even realizing, he just woke up and stumbled out of bed with this in his head, is another amazing thing. That, I mean, dude wrote this subconsciously without even really thinking it through. If I go back to that point that I was making when one of the initial stops that I made, to hear the influence, I can see it now, man. It's crazy. It's crazy, having spent now 3 months of listening to all types of music I've not heard before. I, like people of my generation, especially if you're not, I think a lot of people are given Beatles influence or Beatles music through their family, their grandfathers, etc., who would have grown up in the time, and it's passed through to them. That's sort of the relationship they have. Now, I didn't have that, you know, and the sort of music I grew up with is, of course, hip hop, grime music, bashment music, you know, from Jamaica, where you don't hear as much of this influence touching it. But now, having spent time listening to 90s music, 2000s music, 80s, 70s, all of it, you see the reach, dude. The writing style, the thematic way that he seems to approach his writing, their writing, the Beatles in general, the conceptual way that they approach their albums, just everything, including the musicianship. You can hear the influence, man. It's unreal to see it. I hear Tool. I know that sounds crazy. It doesn't sound like this, but writing-wise, there's a shadow hanging over me. Yesterday came suddenly. I mean, this is what Maynard speaks about. Yeah, I mean, Kurt always talks about how much Lennon influenced him. Certainly, he loves the Beatles. I can hear it in his melodies. Yeah, it's crazy to see. It's going to be cool to also watch the evolution of the band over time. I've got a sort of snippet of it now in a couple of different years. So I think what I'll do is probably go even further backwards for the next one. Amazing track. Amazing track.